What if life in the Soviet Union wasn't what the world believes today? What if behind the cold concrete buildings and strict government rules, real people live stories far more complicated than the black and white image we see from the outside? Imagine a child waking up in a world where everyone acted confident in public, yet carried quiet fear inside their homes. Imagine posters praising success while store shelves stood empty. And imagine a nation that looked powerful on paper but felt fragile in the hearts of its citizens. Life wasn't simply harsh. It was layered with hidden hope, silent rebellion, and small acts of courage no one talks about. And as this child grew, they discovered a truth the world never sees. Nothing in the Soviet Union was as simple as it seemed. Every smile had a secret. Every rule had a shadow. And every person carried a story the world never heard. Growing up in the Soviet Union meant entering a world carefully controlled from the top, but quietly reshaped by ordinary people at the bottom. The government dictated jobs, education, speech, and even dreams. Yet inside small apartments, families built their own hidden universe. Parents whispered jokes only after checking the windows. Neighbors shared food even when they barely had enough. Children learned early that public life demanded silence, but private life was filled with warmth, laughter, and small stolen freedoms. Schools taught loyalty, unity, and discipline, yet during breaks students traded secret Western songs recorded on old tapes. Life outside was strict, but behind every closed door, there was softness, humanity, and quiet resistance. The real Soviet Union was not a landscape of fear alone. It was a complex place where people survived with dignity, learned to protect their inner world, and created hope from almost nothing. As the child stepped into teenage years, the cracks in the system became clearer. Posters displayed smiling farmers and overflowing factories, but the reality outside the window told a different story. Long queues stretched around blocks for basic goods like butter and sugar. People stood silently, tired yet patient, because waiting was part of life. The teenager watched adults carry both pride and frustration in their expressions. Loyalty was expected, but trust was rare. At school, lessons spoke about strength, glory, and victory. Teachers repeated the same phrases every year, but even they carried uncertainty in their eyes. During lunch breaks, students whispered about foreign movies, music, and books they were never supposed to see. Those small moments of curiosity felt dangerous yet exciting, like unlocking a door to a world they were told did not exist. The teenager began to understand that truth here lived in two places, one in the textbooks, and one in the quiet conversations no one dared to speak loudly inside the home. Life felt different. The kitchen became the safest place, a tiny sanctuary where adults could finally talk freely. Here they laughed, argued, cried, and shared honest thoughts. These late-night conversations shaped the teenager more than any patriotic speech. They learned that fear could silence a nation, but it could not silence the human heart. They learned that hope could survive even when opportunities did not. And they learned that in a world of restrictions, imagination became a form of freedom. As years passed, the Soviet Union began to weaken. Factories struggled. Stores grew emptier. People grew restless. News traveled slowly, but rumors moved like electricity. Something big was coming. People felt it in their bones then. Almost without warning, everything collapsed. Borders changed, leaders stepped down, and the system that controlled millions fell apart in a wave of shock and confusion. Overnight, life transformed from predictable to chaotic. Money lost its value. Jobs disappeared. Families panicked. The teenager, now a young adult, watched the world they grew up in dissolve like sand slipping through fingers, and yet, in this collapse, something unexpected emerged, the freedom they had only dreamed of. For the first time, people could speak without fear. They could choose careers, travel, build businesses, express opinions, and chase dreams openly. But freedom came with a heavy cost. Prices rose dramatically. Crime increased. Uncertainty became a daily companion. The young adult faced a new world full of both danger and possibility. Slowly, they learned to adapt. They took small jobs, made new connections, learned new skills, and built a future from almost nothing. Life no longer followed strict rules, but it offered something even more powerful, a chance to write their own story looking back years later. They realized the Soviet Union was never the simple story the world believed. It wasn't just strict rules and empty shells. It wasn't just fear and silence. It was a complex world filled with human strength, hidden dreams, and quiet courage. People learned to survive in ways outsiders could never understand. They learned to love in whispers, to hope in shadows, and to protect their spirit even when everything around them felt controlled. The collapse brought chaos, but it also revealed how powerful ordinary people truly were. Their strength didn't come from the system. It came from the human heart that refused to break. And in the end, they understood the truth. Life in the Soviet Union wasn't what the world thinks. It was a story of resilience, sacrifice, and the unstoppable desire for freedom that lived in every soul, waiting for its moment to rise.